Hello, everyone. Well, there's no one here yet, but hopefully we'll have some people come in later on. And also for those who will be watching in the future when this is recorded and on our Facebook and YouTube page, hello and welcome. Today we will be talking about homeownership opportunities that we have here through CHIP, through our self-help program, and our newest subdivision in Corning. So before we get into that, let me just give you a little introduction of who we are. CHIP is a nonprofit that has been operating here in the North Valley since 1973 with the goal of helping people have access to safe and affordable housing. We serve Butte, Tehama, Shasta, Sutter, Glenn, Lassen, Yuba, and Colusa counties. We offer both low-income apartment communities and affordable housing opportunities. But today we're focusing on the homeownership portion of that. And here to talk to you more about the program and to answer any questions that you may have on how to apply for a house through the self-help program is Judy, our self-help housing specialist. Hello, Judy.
Hi, how are you, Christina?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great too. Thank you for having me.
Of course, thanks for joining us. And before we get into the questions, for those of you who are watching our live stream and have questions about anything that we mention here today or about CHIP in general, please write those in the comment section of this video and we'll do our best to answer them during the live stream. So let's jump in. Judy, first and foremost, before we start talking about our newest subdivision in Corning, can you explain a little bit about the self-help program and what makes it different than buying a house through just the regular traditional market?
Sure. So CHIP's self-help program is funded primarily by USDA Rural Development. They are the lender that provides the subsidy that reduces the monthly payments for all those that are eligible. With our self-help program, you actually help build your home and the others of the construction group. So you're put into a construction group and you help each other build your home until all the homes are complete. Then you move into your home. Payments are low and affordable, fixed interest rate, and there is no down payment. So that sweat equity, which is what we refer to for the construction portion of it, is the contribution of 30 hours per week from the buyers along with their family members, friends over the age of 16 that will help them complete those hours during the construction period. CHIP, along with their lenders and the buyers, we don't only just like sell the home, but we help with creating a community, creating a neighborhood, and that's really what sets CHIP apart from other processes in purchasing homes.
Awesome. Thank you for clarifying that. And now that we have like a brief overview of what the program is, can you share a little bit about the features of the new subdivision that we launched earlier last week, which we're really pumped about. We know that we've gotten a lot of questions about it. So can you just share what are some of the features of this new subdivision?
Yes, that's correct. We are now accepting applications for our new subdivision, which is located in Corning. This time around, we have 53 lots available. They are located off of Marguerite Avenue on Spruce Avenue, Cottonwood Court, and Sturmgarten Drive. Some of our features are that we do have 3, 4, and 5 bedroom homes with a 2-car garage, and you, the public, are able to view those samples of those house models, and they're located on our website. So if you want to take a look at what those could possibly look like, we urge you to check that out. Another feature is that the affordable monthly payments, no down payment, low fixed interest rate, and really awesome is that there's solar panels as well on these homes.
Is that a new feature, the solar panels?
Yes, this is something new. We actually started at our previous subdivision, which is located in Williams. But yes, this is a new feature that our homes have, which are the solar panels.
It's very exciting. And so let's say someone is interested in the subdivision. It has a bunch of great features. how can someone apply for this subdivision, and what does the application process look like?
First of all, you'll need to have access to the applications, and a little bit later, I'll let you know what those options are for you to acquire one of the applications. But once you have the application, you'll need to fill it out as completely as possible. There's also a list on the application of documents that you'll need to submit along with it. And we ask that you please submit only copies. We don't want to have your originals here. But yeah, you have a list of income information, household information. You submit that, and then once we review the application, or once one of the packagers reviews the application, we will go ahead and contact you for further instructions or for additional information. You can submit your application by mailing it to us at our office. So you can address that to CHIP, CHIP, and mail it to 1001 Willow Street in Chico, California, 95928. Or you can drop it off in person. Our office hours are Monday through Thursday, 8:30 a.m. to 4 o'clock p.m. You cannot fax it or email it. Unfortunately, at this time, we're not able to do that. So we do have to have the physical application submitted. And then applications are reviewed in the order that they are submitted. So once we review it, we will contact you. And then keep in mind that because this is such a big subdivision, the 53 lots, we don't have an exact time frame on how long that will take for us to review those applications, but we will reach out to you as soon as we reach it.
Thank you. And for those of you who maybe didn't catch the address or the office hours, all of that information is on our website, so you can go check that out there. And the link to the website is on our Facebook profile, so it's really easy to just click and go, but it's chiphousing.org. So one of the most frequently asked questions we get about the application process is the credit checks. Do interested households need to have perfect credit in order to apply for one of these homes?
It's really important for you to have acceptable credit, but perfect credit is not necessary. So basically what that means is that we're going to be looking at your overall credit. We're not looking at just a specific credit number. So that is one of the things that makes this a little bit different. And then also we all have different situations. Some people might think that they have, really bad credit. We really do need to look at that credit report first. We do a tri-merge credit report. One of the items on the list of required documents is a money order for the credit report fee. And that is in order for us to see what is the most current information listed on there. If there's something on there that is going to prevent you from being eligible, the packager will notify you what those exact items are, and then we can discuss it and on further if something can be done, or if it's an item that could possibly be looked at and the lender may sometimes make an exception for. So those are all looked at a case-by-case basis. So we do urge you to not disqualify yourself on what you think you may have. Please just submit your application, and then we'll look at it and then kind of guide you on what needs to be done.
Thank you, Judy. Yes, I know that credit can be a really scary subject in general, but specifically when buying a house. So
right.
Thank you for clarifying on what it is we're looking for when we are looking through applications. And we have a few questions via the comment section, so I'm going to go ahead and start asking those. The first one is from Melissa, and she asks, how long does it take to find out if we are approved for this program?
That will depend on when we receive your application. So we do hope to begin reviewing applications in the next 2 to 3 weeks. And we will be reviewing applications for the first group. Again, we do have 53 lots, so we are going to have multiple groups. I believe we're going to have like 6 or 7 groups in the subdivision. So it may take a while depending on when your application is submitted. So that's the most important thing I can tell people right now is that if you do have the application on hand right now, please submit it as soon as possible. And then as soon as we review that application, we will reach out to you. So it could be a few weeks or it might be a few months, depending on how quickly we're able to fill out the first group, the second group, and so on.
And to kind of go along with that question, will applicants be notified either way if they get accepted or not accepted into the program?
Yes, you will receive a notification either way, whether we reviewed your application and there's some items that you need to work on, or whether everything is looking great, what the next step is. And then also, it won't be for a while, but if we do run out of homes and we do identify all families, we also do send out a notification at the end if we were not able to reach your application. We will keep you on our interest list for any future projects, but we will notify you if you provided an email address on there, a phone number, or by mail, whatever you listed on your application is the form that we will contact you.
Awesome. Thank you for clarifying. So then our next question is, do the applicants have to be residents of Corning?
No. It is open to the public. So as long as you're able to afford and able to comply with that 30-hour contribution of building your home for the duration of the construction, yeah, it does not matter where you are living. We just look at the income and the credit.
Yes. And then the nice thing about Corning is that it's kind of, you're able to commute to a lot of other places. So,
right. Mm-hmm.
And another question we have is, do you have to have kids to apply?
No. A household, or when we refer to a family of one is also a family. So you do not have to have dependents. You don't have to have children, a partner. You can be a single person and apply for the program.
And we have a question that asks what city we're building next. This one is for Corning, but do we have anything in the horizon at this time?
At this time, not that I'm aware of. We do serve 7 counties. We serve Butte, Glenn, Tehama, Shasta, Yuba, Sutter, and there's one more. Colusa County. And we are always accepting names to be added to our interest list. You can do that by giving us a call or shooting us an email to chipgeneral.org chipgeneral@chiphousing.org. And then we would automatically notify you if we have something available in the area that you're interested once it becomes available. At this time, we are only accepting applications for Corning, and we don't have anything else available.
Thank you for clarifying. I know we're already excited for the next one, but yes. Corning for now. Mm-hmm. So our next question is, can I have a co-signer if I do not meet the credit criteria?
Yes, cosigner is something that's acceptable by the lender. It is a little bit tricky to actually qualify for it, but it is something that you can request if you've submitted your application and then you receive a letter notifying you that you're not eligible. That's something you can definitely ask the packager. When you receive the letter, it'll have the packager's information on there for you to contact and then discuss it further.
Thank you. Our next question is Section 8 accepted if we have it for this program?
Actually, that's something that I'm not completely sure about. Section 8 as in form of a payment, I believe it might be something that is acceptable, but I would have to confirm with the lender. So I'd have to get back to that person. So if they can email us, and then I can go ahead and respond to them.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, so if you ask that question, or if you also want to know the answer to that, please email us. We'll have our emails also on our Facebook profile, but we'll have a slide with the email information here at the end of this webinar. So the next question is, do you accept ITIN applications? Applicants.
Mm-hmm. So the application, the applicant and co-applicant do have to have either citizenship, U.S. citizenship, permanent residency, or an acceptable work permit by the lender. So unfortunately, the only way to determine that is by actually submitting the application along with the copy of that permit, and then us submitting that to the lender, and the lender would check that. The ITIN number is generally used when a spouse applies, and then if the spouse does not have a social security number, then we can use that ITIN number in order to run the credit report, which is a requirement in order for us to process that application. So we can definitely use that ITIN number in place of the social security number to run the credit report if you're a spouse of somebody that's applying that does have citizenship, permanent residency, or an acceptable permit.
Awesome. Thank you for clarifying that. And the next question is, what is needed to be able to get a 4-bedroom house? Does it go by family size?
No, so the list on the application, and it says what your preference is. That's literally just a preference, what you would like to purchase. And so when the packager is reviewing the file, that's what we're going to look at first. If for some reason you're not eligible for the 4-bedroom, then we'll look at the 3-bedroom. But as long as your income supports it, you can apply for a 5, even if you're a household of 1, or as long as it's available, of course, and that we have it, then you would be able to choose any of those.
And we have a question that is more of a clarifying question for the credit score answer that you gave earlier. When you say acceptable credit, what is considered an acceptable credit score?
So generally, the acceptable credit is that no more than 2 late payments in the last 12 months, no outstanding collections or charge-offs. If you've had a bankruptcy, it has to be over 36 months, so after 3 years. And then again, there are some exceptions, so that's what we generally look at first overall. If you do have something on your credit report pertaining to those items I just mentioned, then we would look at your credit score. And then if your credit score is above 640, then there are some exceptions that can be made. And then lastly, we can, depending on what the situation is that caused for those items to go into either collection or to default on, then we could ask for a letter of explanation and submit it to the lender and see if they're willing to make an exception. And that would be on a case-by-case basis.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And now our next question is someone eligible if they have DACA?
Unfortunately, at this time, it's not something that the lender is accepting quite yet. I know we have been waiting patiently for years to hopefully hear the news that they're accepting, but at this time, unfortunately, it's not acceptable. If it's, again, like somebody's applying jointly, if it's a married couple and one of the spouses does have residency, then you can do that. And the other one has DACA, then you can apply. But that person with DACA would not be able to be applying for the loan.
Okay, thank you. And how long does someone have to be in their current employment to qualify?
We do request a 2-year history of employment, but that doesn't mean you have to have that. As if you have like an explanation, whether it was you're a student beforehand or you're a stay-at-home mom, or we just need an explanation. That history is just something we want to know, like if there's any gaps in your employment. The lender just wants to know that you have like a history of being employed and are able to eventually make that mortgage payment.
Thank you. And the next question asks if we have an idea of how many applications we have received at this time.
We have received quite a lot of interest so far. So I do urge everybody to apply as soon as possible. If you're waiting on maybe having a very specific question answered, I urge you to not wait. Just go ahead and submit the application. You can put a note in your application and say, please, before running my credit report, I would like to talk to you. And that way one of our packagers can contact you beforehand. But I definitely don't want people to hold off and not submit the application, because that is one of the most important things. Is it is first come first serve. So get that application. I would hate for you to wait on it, because we are all very busy. We have a lot of interest, and we're doing our best to respond to everybody. But for sure, you can drop it off or mail it off, and then once we reach it, we can discuss all those questions you may have further.
Yes, and don't be discouraged. We don't want to you to think like, oh, now so many people are already applied. There's no point in me applying at this point. Don't be discouraged. Go ahead and apply, because it's a long process.
Yes.
So just we like Judy said, we encourage you to apply.
Yes, it's a big subdivision, 53 lots, so for sure, don't get discouraged. Just get that application submitted as soon as possible.
Absolutely. And talking about, this being a big subdivision, how long does construction on a subdivision like this usually take, and how long does it take to actually move into your home?
We don't have a very specific timeline, because with the past couple of years with COVID, and then that affecting not only like contractors but weather, as well as many things are taken into consideration when the construction process is when we talk about the construction process. So I can't for sure say how long it'll take, because that a lot of things uh, like I mentioned, will be considered, but we are seeing about a year and a couple of months to a year and a half is general, but don't hold me to that. That can definitely change. It can be a lot sooner than that, or it can be a little bit longer, just depending on the overall situation.
Thank you. And talking about the construction, I know you mentioned that 30 hours a week is required for each household. Does CHIP work around your work schedule for those 30 hours?
So we are open generally 5 days a week for the construction part of the process, and that typically includes Saturday and typically Sunday as well. Most people work Monday through Friday, but we know there's so many different employments, so there are open as well a few days during the week. You do have the ability to have family members and friends help you with those 30 hours a week. And if the job site is closed, they will talk with the group beforehand and see what the schedule is going to work best for the group. So that's something that could definitely change and make sure that it's going to work for everybody. We want to make this process as easy as possible, so they will work with you once we've started the construction.
Thank you. And how are floor plans and lots designated?
On what fits. So there is a map on the specific measurements of the lots, and depending on that, there's setbacks or other construction stuff that I'm not really familiar with. But our construction superintendent does provide us with the information on what fits on each lot. So if you are eligible, you will end up having a meeting with the packager, and in that meeting, you will be able to look at the map and see what's available, and then choose from that.
Thank you. And the next question is, what is the age limit to apply? 18 and over or 21 and over? Is there any age limitations?
18 and over, an adult. Mm-hmm.
Thank you. And where do people submit their applications once they've been all filled out?
So in order to submit the application, like I mentioned before, unfortunately, we're not able to accept it electronically or via fax, because there are items such as like that money order for the credit report fee that need to be submitted along with supporting documentation that's listed on the application. So you can submit your application two different ways. You can either mail it to us to 1001 Willow Street in Chico, California, 95928, or you can drop it off in person. You can do that anytime. Our operating hours, though, are Monday through Thursday, and we do have a mail slot at the door in case you come after hours or on a Friday or on a weekend. You can just make sure that all your documents and the application are in an envelope that's sealed, and then drop it through that mail slot, and then once we're back in the office, we'll go ahead and receive that and process it.
Thank you. And again, for those who didn't catch it earlier, our mailing address and everything is on our website and also on our Facebook page on the profile. So you can, if you didn't get a chance to write it down, it's right there, and I'll
And
be putting it in the comments after this video as well.
it's also on the actual application. At the very top of the application, you're going to see the address along with the our email and our website information.
Oh, perfect. And the next question is a construction question. So if we do more than 30 hours a week, does that represent, does that have any benefits? Like, can we bank hours if we do extra, or how does that work?
Unfortunately, no, you're not able to bank hours, but it still benefits you overall, because the more hours you're out there, the more you're working, the more you're getting done. So then that will advance the construction more. But yeah, you're not able to bank it, but it does still have a benefit in, allowing for you to get more things done, and that'll help overall get you into your home faster.
Thank you. And I know you touched on this briefly already, but what about recent changes in employment and income?
That is still also acceptable. Just go ahead and make note of it on the application. The only when we go in through and we review it, if we need any additional information, we'll let you know. The application does request 4 check stubs. So if you still don't have those 4 check stubs, just provide what you have with the explanation, letting us know as soon as you get your next one. You'll provide it until we have accumulated those 4 check stubs in order for us to continue reviewing it. But still don't hesitate and wait until you actually have them. Go ahead and submit it in a letter of explanation so we're aware of what your situation is.
Thank you. And we have another question about DACA, being able to qualify with DACA. So I know that you already mentioned this, but if you want to just briefly explain again.
So unfortunately, DACA is not acceptable at this time. If you have a partner that is either U.S. citizen or a permanent resident, or has an acceptable permit, or if you are holding one of those items, then you can apply for a loan through our USDA Rural Development Lender. But at this time, they are not accepting DACA. DACA is one of the items that they still are not accepting at this time.
Yes. And the next question is another question about age limit. So as Judy mentioned before, you do have to be 18 years old to apply. But other than that, there is no age limit beyond
Right.
that.
Mm-hmm.
And then a commenter mentioned, not a question, but she did want to point out that our layout options are on the website if you want to take a look. So floor plans, I know, Judy, I'm sure you'll comment on this, but are subject to change. But that is what we can offer now, so that if you do want to take a look, at least to get an idea of what the layouts can be, they are on our website.
Right.
And we have another question that is, what does someone have to make to qualify, or how much is too much? Is there a cap?
So we do have income limits, and those are for Butte County, and those limits are households of 1 through 4 cannot exceed 62,300. And then for a household of 5 through 8, the limit is 82,250. Keep in mind that if you are borderline over income, or you're slightly above income, there are some deductions that can be taken in consideration, such as children under the age of 18, and then also childcare. And then if you're 62 and older, there were some medical deductions that may be acceptable as well. So we still urge you, if you're borderline. With regards to a minimum, at this time, we don't have a minimum because we still have not started reviewing. Once we start reviewing applications, we'll have a better idea on what that minimum is. But it's not a set amount. That's determined on the overall review of the applications. But the limit are those, and I believe those limits are also on our website. So if you have any questions regarding that, you can also look at that.
Yes. And then another construction question, and I think this one's a good one, because you plan ahead for your year. what if we have trips we have already paid for during that 1 to 1.5 years in the future, and it takes to build the house? Are we disqualified because we're unable to make it during those short periods of time?
No, that's absolutely fine. You just need to notify the group worker that's assigned to your group what those dates are, and we know life happens. We can plan for the best, but sometimes things just happen. And if that's the case, and you fall behind on your hours, then you are automatically allowed 2 weeks to make them up. If you need more than those 2 weeks, then we can discuss that with your group worker and come to an understanding. It's just those hours are a requirement. They are part of the contract, so they can't be waived, but we definitely can work something out where we can get you back on track. And you just need to notify us. Communication's key. Let us know what those trips are, and then we'll work it through.
Thank you. And the next question is, I have applied 3 times. Will the inquiry, so will applying again affect my chances?
No, you can apply as many times. In fact, we encourage you to apply because just because if you either we didn't reach your application previously or if you weren't eligible previously, that does not mean you won't be this time around. So I guess the beauty of it is every brand new subdivision is a fresh new start. So hopefully if there was items that you needed to work on towards that eligibility and now you might be there. Also, there every subdivision the prices may be different, funding might be different, interest rate is different, so there's many things to consider that maybe this is the time that you will be eligible or we reach your application. So we encourage you to apply as many times you per subdivision, so you don't have to. If we reach your application and for some reason you're not eligible and you have a change or an update, you don't have to submit a new application. You just submit the updates. But with regards to each subdivision, you can apply as many times as you want.
Thank you. And then we have a question about debt again, but this one in particular was student debt. Does student debt affect the ability to qualify?
That depends. That's a tricky question. So that will be a case by case because some people might have deferred payments, some people might have a plan, and then also depending on what your income is, that will determine how much debt you're able to support. So that is something that we do consider, but there's many ways to look at it depending on each individual's situation.
Thank you. And then I know we're a little over time, but if you have time, Judy, we have just a few more questions.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, awesome. So we have another question that is asking, do you get to choose your flooring, like carpet versus vinyl, or like can you choose your paint colors, or is that all kind of set for you?
Once you're determined eligible in that meeting that I mentioned before, where we go over all the information and then you get to choose your house plan, that information will also be provided, and you do have some items that you'll get to choose as the homeowner, which include the flooring color for like the stucco. Paint color from the inside is a general like white, but there are items that you do as a homeowner get to choose, and those samples of those items will be at the job site throughout the construction process, and you'll be able to look at them and choose accordingly at that time.
Thank you. And the next question is, can someone whose sole income is Social Security, can they submit an application?
Yes, we do accept applications, and we do accept income and benefits as a source of income. And then we will review it. Again, I don't know what the minimums are at this time because we have not started reviewing. But if you are on set income and would like to find that out first, you can definitely give us a call, and then we'll let you know. But yes, Social Security, any other type of benefit, public assistance, that's all acceptable income that we use towards the eligibility.
Thank you. And our next question is, are people with collections on their credit report disqualified?
I'm not able to fully give that answer because, like I mentioned before, it's case by case. It really does depend on then once it's determined you have a collection, what your scores are, and then after that, what the situation is, and then seeing if that situation will warrant the lender to make an exception. So it's possible yes, and it's possible no. I'm not able to give a definite answer. Yeah.
That's why we encourage everyone to apply, because everyone's situation is so unique,
Mm-hmm.
that we can't always give really broad answers that would apply to everyone. And then talking about applying, we have someone who was wondering if they need help on the application, who can they message to, or email or call to get assistance on applying?
If they need help with applying, you can definitely email us, and then we can set up an appointment. Or if you walk into the office Monday through Thursday, then we can also assist you if you need help with filling out that application. Just make sure you come prepared with all the other documents that you need as well, so that once we assist you, you can submit it and are not having to then go back and additional information. So just make sure you have that so that we're able to assist you when you're here Monday through Thursday, 8:30 to 4 p.m.
Thank you. And we have someone who was asking if they live in the Bay Area, can they still apply? I know you answered this one already. So yes, we don't have any requirement on where you are currently living in order to apply. So you can live anywhere right now to apply for the subdivision in Corning.
Yes. So you just have to be eligible, income eligible, and then also be able to commit to those 30 hours per week for the duration of the construction period.
Thank you. And we have a question about what happens after you qualify. So you submit your application, you get the great news that you're qualified. What is the immediate next step? Is it construction right away, or what kind of does that look like?
So CHIP will assist you with after you submit your application for CHIP, we pre-qualify you, and then we will assist you with submitting the official application to the lender, to USDA Rural Development. After the lender reviews and gives you the official approval, then we will also assist you with coordinating the closing part of the loan. Once the loan is closed, and then we begin the construction part of it. So then we also assist you with that, with getting like the plan check, going through permits, paying fees, and getting everything ready to be able to start the construction of the home. Once the lots are ready for construction, so that would be like once foundations are poured, then we will hold a pre-construction meeting with your group leader, with your group worker, and then we will go over the details on when construction starts and what those schedule looks like, and then you'll meet your foreman and all the families in your group.
And what if you don't get approved? What does that process look like? So you applied and you don't get approved.
So you'll receive a letter if we reviewed your application and for one reason or another you were not eligible. It will definitely give you details on the reason for not being eligible at that moment, and it will also provide you the information of the packager, so you can contact in case there is an error in, because we're looking at credit reports. Sometimes there's items on there that were already cleared but for some reason are still showing, so you still have an opportunity to reach out to us, and then we can discuss it and provide any evidence of any changes or updates. And then as long as we have homes available, you can update that information, and then we can see if you're eligible at that time. So when we look at your application, it's basically like a snapshot in time. And the good thing is that we have many groups in this subdivision, so it does allow for some time for changes. So the important thing is for you to contact us as soon as possible if you have any evidence of it changes or updates, and so we can check and see if we still have homes available. If we do, we can review your application one more time, or we can review it as many times as you have changes and we have homes available.
Awesome. Yes, that is the benefit of it being a larger subdivision.
Yes.
And we have, I know that you already answered the question about DACA, but we have one that says, what if you have DACA plus employment authorization? Can they still apply?
I would urge you to submit your application because that is something that we would then have to forward to the lender, and then they would have to check like the code on there. So we're not able to determine that just right off the bat at our level here at the CHIP office. That is something that we would submit to the lender, and they can double check for that. It won't affect you in any negative way. It's just something that they'll need to check on their system to see if it's an acceptable code. And if it is, then we can go ahead and move forward with the application. If not, we will notify you that it's not the same way by sending you a letter, contacting you. And if you have any further questions, we can provide you also the information for the lender for you to contact and speak to them directly if needed.
Thank you. And so this is our last question. And it was just one time if you can repeat the income requirements, and if there is a minimum income requirement.
So there's no minimum income requirement. We do have kind of an idea of what you need in order to qualify once we've actually gone through and reviewed applications, which we have not started yet at this time. But the income limits for Tehama County are household of 1 through 4. So USDA does do income banding. So it's not like individual, it's 1 through 4. You cannot exceed $62,300 a year, and that's gross income. And then for a household of 5 through 8, it would be $82,250. I had also mentioned that if you are borderline being over income, or if you're slightly over, we still urge you to apply because there are some deductions that may be applicable to you. For example, children under 18, there's some deductions, there's childcare deductions, and there's many others that might be able to be applied to you that may help you get that income a little bit lower.
Thank you. So that's it. That's all our questions. Thank you to everyone who watched and everyone who asked your questions. There were some really great ones, and I know that it's really helpful for others who have the same thing to be able to hear those answers. So we appreciate everyone who watched, and we appreciate you, Judy, for taking your time out of your really busy day, because you are getting a lot of calls already and emails. So thank you for taking some time to answer the ones on Facebook.
Thank you. And again, if you have any specific questions, just reach out to us, to our CHIP General email, and we will give you a call, or to our phone number, and then we will give you a call or respond by email as soon as we're able to.
Yes, thank you for reminding me. Here's the contact information. So that phone number is for the office. And if you have specific questions and would like to talk to Judy, you can ask for Judy through there. I know our everyone who answers the phones is knowledgeable of this program, so you can ask them. I know that there's different people at different times answering the phone, and they will be able to give you answers, but you can also specifically ask for Judy. And then for the email, it's chipgeneral@chiphousing.org if you would prefer to ask via email. I know not everyone loves phone calls, and that's totally okay. So we have that as well. And you are, of course, welcome to direct message us via Facebook and Instagram, and we can also respond that way. So we will try our best to answer any questions you have in any way that you ask them. So any last thoughts, Judy, before we go?
Just again, urging everybody to don't get discouraged. Please submit your application as soon as possible, and then don't disqualify yourself. There's many situations, and I just urge you to submit that application. And hopefully, if you're not ready at this moment, at least we can get you started on that road to becoming eligible in the future. If not, hopefully for this subdivision, but we will still hopefully get you on the right track.
Awesome. Thank you again, Judy, and thank you to everyone who joined us today. Have a great rest of your day. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.